wasting our time? Really? Are we? When we talk about a free, fair, and credible election, Nigeria continues to stand out. The question everyone is asking is, can we truly have a free, fair, and credible election? That's the big question. Well, this Friday, I'm happy to announce that on the 28th of August, 2026, the briefing room hosted by Act One will bring together voices from politics, governance, media, and civic engagement for an important town hall conversation. Of course, the Osun elections have happened, but we're going to be examining the issues that we saw from the election, as well as Ekiti and other states that could possibly shape 2027. It's just a couple of months away. The power of money, electoral violence, technology, misinformation, and most importantly, the responsibility of you. We're going to be taking a look at everything. Join us at 4 p.m. live on YouTube at Act One.
Lassa fever death toll rises, spreads to Enugu, Delta, Bauchi, others. Hundreds on watch list. Insecurity in North Central governors strategize on community policing, resolve to provide improved capacity for security agencies.
Federal government warns Nigerians as novel coronavirus spreads beyond China, urges calm, issues travel advisory.
Tinubu working to rescue Oyo kidnapped victims as police crush kidnap syndicates operating from hotel. 5 soldiers killed as troops repelled terrorist attack in Borno State.
The teachers and the children, we are all here. We need help from the federal government and the state government.
Things are getting out of hand. Every day you wake up, it's a kidnap here, murder here. Look, insecurity has become part of our daily lives.
Good evening and welcome to the briefing room town hall from Act One. I am Kachi Ofia. Apologies that we're just beginning. The show was supposed to be in a couple of minutes ago, but of course we all know this. Great things take time. Now let's get right to it. Over the next 2 hours, 9 people, well at this point in time I'd actually say 7 people, will be joining us in this conversation. Now they all took different turns in having different conversations, but now to the conversation today. People have stayed in a ballot. They have run a party. They have counted results or reported different types of results, and they are going to answer these questions right in front of you, and of course in front of each other. Now today on the briefing room, we are asking a very, very critical question. Can Nigeria have a free, fair, and credible election? So let me tell you how tonight is going to work. I'm sure you've seen many town halls, but none like this one. There are 9 people in this room, of course, excluding myself, and they come in 3 different panels. Now, every single guest will get 60 seconds at the top of their block, uninterrupted, no notes, to answer the title question straight. Can Nigeria have a free, fair, and credible election? Because really, isn't that what we all want at the end of the day? Then, of course, we will argue just a little bit. And then in the last half of the hour, all of my guests will come back, and every single one of them names one thing that they will believe will make the January general elections credible. And of course, what they are personally going to do about it. Now, I just want to say to you watching the show today that you are not a spectator in any way, shape, or form. The show is live. We're on. There is a poll on your screen right now, and it asks you to do the same thing. We're asking you to vote now. Tell us exactly, what do you think? Do you think that we can actually have a free, fair, and credible election? Now, we're going to show you the results at the top of the hour, and we will vote again at the end. And if you have changed your mind by then, well, that is the most interesting thing that will probably happen tonight. Now, if you're watching on Instagram, the panel is on your screen, comments are open, and we're reading them. If you're on YouTube, the poll is pinned above the chat. Feel free to just drop your opinion right there. But we do have one ground rule, and we will enforce it evenly amongst all the guests today. If anyone makes any allegation against a person tonight, they will definitely be showing us evidence of what that is. Not because we're trying to protect anyone, but again, this is not a tribunal. We will not allow the program to be used as one. And now, before we bring everyone that we have in this great studio into this conversation, let's put some things in context, because a lot of people, you know, believe that there were issues around the last elections in both directions, right? This is where we're now going to give you an idea of the Osun elections that just happened not that long ago. I believe that was on the 15th of August, 2026. Let's go into Ademola Adeleke. Governor Ademola Adeleke, 511,067 votes. Now, of course, Bola Oyebamiji Ambo of the APC, 444,815 votes. Now, if you look at this clearly, this is a margin of what? 66,252, right? Okay, let's move on. Now, both men did better than their parties did 4 years ago, if you look at this. The APC added nearly 70,000 votes to its 2022 score and lost by more than twice the margin. Now, while you hold that thought, I need you to understand that this kills the laziest explanation on offer tonight. 43%, that is the best of the 3 off-cycle elections since 2023. Ekiti in June saw 36%. Anambra last November saw 21%. The winner in Osun, that is Governor Adeleke, was elected by roughly 1 in 5 of the people entitled to vote. Meanwhile, let me just ask, do you have a voter's card? Because that's going to play a really, really major role in the conversation we're having today. Now, this is the number that should worry everyone in this room tonight. Yaga Africa's independent count said that INEC's figures were accurate. The results matched their projections. Now, this same report said the accreditation machines failed in 20% of the polling units they observed. That result uploads stalled for 3 hours on election night. Not a very good thing. That vote buying was widespread, and between 2,500 and 20,000 naira, that's how much a vote was going for. Now, let's get to the law. All of this happened under a new law, signed in February, which made electronic transmission of results optional. So if you're looking at this, an accurate count inside a compromised process, under rules that were changed 6 months before the presidential election. That is the country's actual position tonight. Let's argue about what exactly this means. This is exactly why we're here tonight. And to be honest, my first panel were all in one way or another in that election. And I'd just like to begin by introducing them. Mr. Olajide Eson. He stood in it, didn't you? Yeah. He did. Governorship candidate of the African Action Congress in Osun State. Thank you so much for being here today. We also have Barrister Comrade Adesui Daramola, correct? Yes, he is the Southwest Zonal Youth Leader of the All Progressives Congress, the party that holds the presidency at this time. Now, of course, they also wrote the new electoral law through the National Assembly and lost that state. How do you feel about that? Well, let me introduce my third guest. Mr. Adekunle Suleiman is a senior correspondent and digital copy editor at The Punch and a global affairs analyst. You see, this is a very interesting panel because our guests here today are perfectly curated. Our final panelist is here today because he's going to keep the rest of us honest about the record. Gentlemen, you're welcome. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Now let's get in. The conversation today really speaks to the idea of a free, fair, and credible election. I'm going to give each person 60 seconds. Do you believe we can have one? I'm going to begin with you, Mr. Eson.
Thank you. We may have one, but the chance of having one is very slim because of the fact that ignorance is weaponized, poverty is weaponized, hunger is weaponized. And the issue of money politics would not allow our country to work because most of the people who are hungry are trapped in this same system. And the system is only there to take advantage of the poverty so that there can be a way for the elite, so that there can be, the kind of regular imposition from the elite. So that is why the chance of having a free, fair, and credible election, that is why that chance it's very slim. Because I do say that we don't really need political structure. We need real social structure. People who want true leadership, people who can stand for the common interest of our society, not for the interests of desperate politicians who have only money to offer and not the leadership.
Only money to offer and not the leadership. I think that conversation on weaponization of poverty is very critical. But I'm going to go to our next guest, Mr. Daramola. Your thoughts on this? Can we, and now we're not just looking at this on a state level, because whatever issues we noticed in the state level, multiply that by 36, that's what we're looking at. Do you think we can have a free, fair, and credible election when we're looking towards the presidential election?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think one critical thing to look at is a redirection that is the process we have now contributing to a stronger democracy, and that's the perspective I'm coming from.
Okay.
And when a person can contest an election, when there's a legal mechanism that is in place for those who have lost an election to, pursue justice, and when voters can vote, can go to polling unit and vote, I think these are the things that constitute a stronger democracy. And you agree with me that from the elections in Osun and that of Ekiti has shown that we have much more better, stronger democracy, than ever before. And I think that's my standpoint. If you see what we have now with the beavers, you see that people are free to go there and vote. Of course, there might be issues. Of course, there's issues with technology everywhere, but at least there's a documentation. We have a proper documentation. People has a valid documentation of how they have been accredited, and I think these are very critical, to our electionary processes. So far so good. I think there's room for improvement, but I can say categorically that looking at everything that's happened in the past elections, it contributes to a stronger democracy.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much for that. And now, of course, I would like to bring Mr. Suleiman to the conversation. 60 seconds. Do you believe we can have a free, fair, and credible election?
Thank you very much for the question. And before I go ahead, I would like to describe the real definition of a free and fair election.
As a journalist that you are.
Yes, thank you very much. So a free and fair election is an election that is devoid of people being threatened to choose their choice candidates and, having to settle for the candidate of their choice without fear or bias or favor, as the case may be. Now, the real question is, can Nigeria have a free and fair election? Yes, but it needs to involve the politicians, the political parties, not just the responsibility of the INEC, and also the civil society and journalists. We also have a critical part to play. So Nigeria can have a free and fair election if Nigerian politicians permit a free and fair election. Thank you.
If the Nigerian politicians permit a free and fair election. So you're placing the responsibility of the ease of the election and the possibility of that on the politicians now. Okay. Now, I would like to ask a few direct questions, and I'm going to begin with you, Mr. Esson, because you were on that ballot. And, I want to ask with regards to how it felt like. Would you say that this was, because if you're placing it on the politician, you're placing it on Mr. Esson, in essence, basically, it's your responsibility for us to have that free, fair, and credible election. So would you say, setting aside who won now, just overlooking that, would you say this was a fair context, and at what point in the process did you stop believing that this was something that you could actually win?
Thank you. First of all, INEC has a huge role to play in the area of voters' education because as society, our people have to be informed that there is consequence after election. If you choose a bad leader, you may have to live a terrible life. And I do tell our people that those who actually want to serve you are not going to be offering you money. And those who offer you money are only trying to take advantage of the existing poverty. And in this country, we don't really solve problems, we manage problems. That is why we are still here today as a society, and nothing has been working. And the issue of social engineering and mental conditioning that make people think that leadership capacity has to do with how much noise you can make or how much money you have to share. And it should be based on the intellectual depth of understanding the problems and providing workable solutions. And the reason why it may not be easy is that we still see leadership in the same set of people who are benefiting from our problems. And I say that those who benefit from your problems can never offer you any resolution, because if they do, it's like they destroy their own business. So politics in Nigeria is not really about service, it's about imposition, is about, it has a lot to do with desperation. And when you see them contesting, a lot of the non-politicians today, they are not contesting or contending to serve. They are contesting for who to have access to the bigger meats, and they are not different from themselves. They represent the same political ideology that has brought Nigeria to its nail. I do call them different roads that leads to the same roundabout that Nigeria has been since 1999. So we have to see leadership beyond noise, beyond how much money you have to share, but how much of working or workable solutions you prefer and how you can go about them. So that is what I can say.
Now, if we're being honest about this election that happened in Osun State, I want to believe that it is safe to say that the people of Osun feel like their votes counted. They feel like they were able to cast their votes. Your party raked in a few thousands over the millions of people who were able to vote. And if I listen to what you're saying, you're speaking to the issue, the power of money, right, as a major factor in elections. You're now speaking to intellect, and I'm hearing money versus intellect. So are you saying basically that when it comes to the electional process, money and intellect cannot be cannot be on the same level? We should just focus on what is in the head. But then, can you really have an election without money?
Yeah, it is possible, but most of the people we have in position of leadership, a lot of them become candidates based on several negotiations that are not known to the public. And
so you think they're chosen? They're pre-selected?
Yeah. Even the people that surround them, they brought them together through the kind of assistance, the support they get through election, not because of the capacity or the rating they have to offer. But where we are today, I have been saying that we need what we call social structure, not just political structure, because political structure are only there to serve the interests of the elite, not the masses. So and where we are, based on what happened in an election, Osun people did not win. Osun people lost to the same establishment, because people who are hungry, who are thinking of the next meal, not the next level, will accept whatever you give to them. So the few number of votes we get are genuine votes, people who actually want our society to work, not the ones who are hungry, who are thinking of the next meal.
So you believe that the people who voted, or majority of the voters, basically were voting based on stomach infrastructure?
Definitely, because I say that hunger is weaponized.
Hunger is weaponized.
Poverty is weaponized. You see, when you're in a society when people think that, let me vote, the kind of mentality that, let me vote for who can win. That is why we are here today.
Let me bring in Mr. Daramala into this conversation, because your party lost. Of course, that is the APC. Now, looking at everything that has been said, voting for stomach infrastructure versus voting for who you think can win, or the few people who genuinely voted for who they believe, do you think that the result in Osun was a fair result? Does APC accept that result as a fair result?
So I think the official thing from the APC now is that we are still watching and looking at the process, which is quite normal. But I think so far, the party and our president, who is the leader of the party, has shown a kind of democratic maturity by accepting. The candidate one has gone to the Asu Rock.
People contested that. They said that was a slap on the people of Osun's face, by the way.
Yeah, so but the fact remains that the president has displayed a political maturity. It shows that there's a fair contest.
Okay.
Accord Party won the election. The INEC has declared the results, and so on. So I think so far, like I said earlier when I started my remark, I was saying that everything still has to do with the fact that it's our democracy. Are we improving? Is it getting stronger? And if you look at the process of how we got here, from the introduction of beavers to how INEC has really done a thorough job by ensuring that we have voter education, even aside more civic education, even aside the INEC internal party mechanism, from our own party perspective, has done a lot to ensure that we have people get their PVCs, get involved in electoral processes and so on. So I think, there's, like I said, there's still room for improvement, particularly encouraging more people to participate in all these processes. So and that's where we are. So
do you think that APC did not get enough people to participate? Because if I recall, there were there were the issues, and we will get into that. The electoral violence, the number of people who died during this entire process since October, Adeleke's concerns with his security infrastructure in the state. There were several issues, but do you think that there wasn't enough soliciting for people to go out to vote, considering that really Amber did pull a lot of weight? We're going to talk about the financials that went into Osun State shortly.
Yeah, so within the party structure, I think I must commend the party so far for the efforts that we have deployed, particularly in Osun. There is a lot of processes that went in, preparation went in, and like I said, eventually Accord Party won. But even for the fact that even APC is the government of the day, we still try to manage several situations, particularly in the area of trying not to intimidate voters and so on, which was practical.
That's very mature.
Yes.
Basically, so you're basically telling us today that APC is ready to concede, for instance, if it doesn't win in 2027.
Of course. These are figures that are already in the public domain, and so I think so far we have a play level ground. People has gone out. People voted. I was on the field that day. I went to Kire, where the governor voted, the current candidate voted. I was in Oshogbo. I was in Ife, and people went there to exercise their civic responsibility without any fear or favor or anything. So we have the result. So the best thing now is that if there's any aggrieved party, if you have any aggrieved party, there are already legal mechanisms that they can explore, to ensure that they seek redress in law court or so on.
Absolutely. Mr. Suleiman, I'd like to bring you into this conversation because you cover this as a journalist with The Punch. And of course, that weekend of the Osun election, I was on air and there was a whole spread, on the Punch newspapers about everything that went down. And honestly, between the accusations of rigging, accusation of incompetence, there were talks around, a weak ground game within the APC's infrastructure as well, which contributed to the loss, and how the Accord really stood their ground. So I want you to analyze everything. Which one does the evidence from Osun State support? If you're looking at what we have seen so far, how would you assess the election so far? Was it a successful, free, fair, credible election in Osun State?
Yeah, thank you very much. Gone are the days where people vote based on party affiliations and what have you. I think the scope of election in Nigeria is taking a new turn, and it is now beyond just party politics. It is now personality politics. So if Adeleke had contested under another party, there is every possibility that he might even win, because the people of Osun consider him to be, it was more like a mosaic politics. So they discovered that there are so many things that the previous administration were not able to complete for them, especially in the area of salaries and some infrastructure in the state. And they consider Adeleke to have, improved drastically on many of them. And it was just like a payback with vote for them. So if Adeleke had even contested under another party, under the umbrella of another party, there's every high tendency that he will still retain the seat of power in Osun. So that being said, I'll just chip in some other factors that I feel like affected APC in the election. Yes, there were money politics as recorded in the election, but the truth is that even despite the people being paid most of those cash, people still voted their choices, and that's what matters most in election. But the problem that just arise in some of the, should I say, polling units on the day of the election were possibly threats And I understood, and we recorded that the people stood their ground to still vote their choice candidate. So it was more like threats, amidst threats and amidst vote buying, people still voted the candidate of their choice. And I feel it was a very, very keenly contested election that APC, the president has even acknowledged the fact that he has congratulated Governor Adebola Adeleke, and that shows some kind of mature politics in there. Yeah.
So is it safe to say, because I'd like to bring the other gentleman in the room into this conversation, is it safe to say that Osun was a great scorecard for what we can look forward to in 2027, come the presidential election? Does anyone want to chip in on that thought? Okay, yes. Okay.
It's nice to be here, and I'd like to join by. I never come from what he said.
Yes, just briefly so that we can now go into another section, the umpire.
He said that it's not, Osun gave us the impression that it's not, people don't vote according to party affiliations and what have you. You're wrong. And both said that you're wrong, and I'll tell you why. In states like Ekiti, Ondo, 60% of Oyo, 70% of Osun, most of those guys vote along party lines.
So please use the mic, yes, thank you.
Along party lines. In Ekiti, what happened in Ekiti was, whether you like it or not, the government performs or doesn't perform, they are voting for their party. What you call Omegbe. It was a contest between APC and PDP. In Osun, it should have been APC and PDP, but because they moved to Accord. That was why a lot of people went that route. It wasn't because, and the guy, you see, and the governance he offered them, it wasn't kind of a structured governance. The guy was offering spontaneous governance, and that's when you were saying that Nigerians should go for intellect and what have you. I laugh, because what people want might not even be what you're offering them. In Niger State, in Minna, I was with a politician, and somebody walked to his door and says he wants to marry a fourth wife. She come and sponsor his wedding. That is why you see them sponsoring mass wedding in Kano. That is what they want. That is what those guys will term as good governance. In Osun State, the guy comes to your street, governor, we don't have light, the guy says, okay, give them transformer. Outside budgetary allocation, outside anything. The roads are bad, go and fix it. To them, they are seeing him as responsive governor or responsive government. And the salary issue was there. And that got him the victory. In Ekiti State, like I said, in Ondo State, traditional is just between APC, even the same in Ogun State. The only place you can see electorate to win and woo is Lagos. And it's not even that sure for in Lagos, because in Lagos, all the trade unions belongs to a party. And talking about money in politics, in democracy and capitalism goes hand in hand.
In hand.
And there's no way you want to run an election anywhere in the whole world that you need money. So if you're running democracy, except China.
So if you don't have money, don't run.
Don't forget about it. A quick budget. If you want to pull up a strong contest in Lagos State, you know that those guys in APC in the that guy tried. You have to have nothing less than 20 billion naira. If Adedibu was alive, it probably would have been another 500 million there about. But with Sheyi Makinde, or your state now is going to cost like 10, 12 billion.
It's interesting you say that. Does anyone else want to contribute to this?
I think there's a lot of contradictions in what he just said.
Okay, if you don't mind the microphone, please. That's your mic, yes. Thank you.
Yes. With all due respect, I think he's contradicted himself on many fronts. He's talked about performance, winning the vote for politicians, and at the same time, he's talking about party. We've seen what the trend is like. I mean, if you looked at what happened in 2023, and then if you look at what's happening or what may likely happen in 2027 with a candidate like Peter Obi, for instance, that's an individual now going into a party that was like not any party. I mean, it was coming from PDP, but the people who voted for were not necessarily from PDP. So they followed the individual. And so when he got into ADC and things didn't work out, and then you had like a movement. So these people said they were going to NDC as well. For them, it wasn't about party or party loyalty. So the truth is that a lot of parties in Nigeria today are increasingly becoming SPVs, special purpose vehicles, for electoral contests. So it's about movements, about individuals who are able to, which is why you see people moving across party lines and moving their followers along with them. So that said, I can take your question now and then.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Just before I
It's submission to it.
yes. You want to contribute to that? Okay.
Yeah, you see, it's we get academical or maybe too idealist when we probably look at the Peter Obi example. I'm a guy that I've been around the country by road.
Road.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can tell you, prior 2023 and now into 2027, from Ogbomoso in Southwest, that takes you to Ilorin to Mokwa to Enagi to Bida to Mina. There's nothing like NDC. It's when you get to Bida, you start seeing something like ADC. I've moved from Zaria to Guzo, from Guzo to Maradun, from Maradun to Sokoto. There's nothing like NDC.
Okay, I think you're getting me wrong.
Now I'm coming. I'm still coming at something.
You're getting me wrong.
Now I want to arrive at something.
No.
I want to arrive at something. I'm coming.
Absolutely no affiliation.
I'm not saying
listen.
affiliation. I'm
No,
telling you.
listen.
Gentlemen.
If you listen to it's good for the program.
Yeah.
If you listen to me very carefully, what I talked about was movements and people following individuals. I
Not
mainly
a
use that as an
party.
example.
No,
I can talk about Conquesia.
I was going to come to that.
I can talk
We will
about
get
Accord
to
Party
that.
and exactly what happened.
No, you
so I'm not talking
Just 1
about
minute.
whether they're making
1
any
minute.
impact. It's not about whether they're going to make any impact. I'm talking about the fact that parties are special purpose vehicles nowadays, and so individuals move, and that's what happened even when the Accord of APC came together. Okay, people followed Muhammadu Buhari across party lines, CPC into APC. I want you to listen very carefully to what I'm saying. That's exactly what it is.
You see, there's something I was trying to drive at that you're missing out here. Sometimes, because when we say the political map is changing, sometimes you get overexcited.
I wasn't talking about maps.
No, I'm coming about. That's one interpretation of it.
No.
I get. We get excited about. It could have a ton of events or bring about a change in our political culture, electoral outcomes, and what have you. I will tell Nigerians the good thing we can have is that yes, over time with time, we have more voters' engagement, involvement. The system is getting cleaner and clearer day by day. And maybe someday doesn't have to. We will not be talking about structure. Not be talking about personality. Talking about ideas. We're talking about the ideal thing that it should be. But moving into 2027, I will tell people to be moderate with their expectations.
Moderate in what sense? And why should they?
I'll tell you why I mean moderate in what sense. Because this is the truth. They came. We have an electoral. Yes, during this Osun election, the Beavers, the IRF, was suspended for a while.
For a while, yes.
I have a background in IT. The more the uploading speed or the material you're uploading is, the larger it is, the slower your speed gets.
Okay.
When you're having elections on a day,
36
states of the federation,
yes,
you shouldn't
multiple
be
polling units in
you
each
shouldn't be
state.
expecting such, instantaneous or spontaneous outcome. That is one. Two, in a situation where, and to lean to what Sulaiman said, for us to have a credible election, it was in 1993 there was no technology in this country.
But if I'm hearing you properly, I don't know if it's just me, but are you making a case for the possibility of a failure in 2027?
No, I'm not making a case for a I'm making a case for Nigerians to be moderate with their expectations.
Manage our expectations. I was just about to bring you into the conversation. I would like to hear your thoughts on this, Doctor.
Thank you so very much. Trying to balance what the previous speakers have said. Straight to your question, because I want to just oppose the first question. You're talking about how possible, can we have free, fair, and credible election?
Yes.
And then you were asking if Osun election was a scorecard for the 2027 election. You see, the problem is, yes, we can actually have free, fair, credible election, but there will be deliberate actions by the stakeholders. First, the electoral institutions, the political parties, the security agencies, the media, and most importantly, the Nigerian people, the Nigerian voters. I want to allude to what he said before he concluded that if you look at the trend, immediately we introduced technology from after 1999 election, you start seeing results. The process, the system became cleaner. For instance, in Lagos State, after Raji Babashola, Babatunde Raji Fashola won with about 800,000. That was when we were using smart card, right? And then when you introduced the card reader, the result dropped. Do you understand? And then it kept dropping. Now, that's to tell you how important. In 2022 election, I was one of those who was pivotal to mobilizing young people for Governor Ademola Adeleke, at the time Senator Ademola Adeleke. Right, so what people saw then was the hype, the Davido hype, the personality thing that the journalist spoke about. And that is still what the point is. And that's what Dr. Okai is saying here. The problem right now is that the parties are simply SPVs in Nigeria. And then we are still having this problem of personality, what's it called? Politics. You talked about mental conditioning. How many persons can actually think very well?
To know what they want.
I'm a healthcare practitioner. It's just like depriving an animal, put them in a place. This place is a concentration camp, sort of. People can't think very well. They don't even know they don't even know how to decide. I watched the town hall by Arise TV. You can't compare what the gentleman here, Mr. Eson, did in terms of presentation, the pitch, what he delivered. And I heard when people were saying, oh, he sounds like an idealist. I saw some morons who was writing, oh, you didn't even cut your hair and all this nonsense. It has been brought to that level. The governor of the state, see, let's talk about figures. Ademola Adeleke has received over 650 billion in 3 years, right? Compared to the former governor, who only had 191 billion in 3 years. Oyetola. How do you compare that? Then when you want to go into details, what do you see in Osun that justifies 650 billion? Does Osun really need flyovers? These are the issues. We want to talk to issues, right? So, but in this age and time, when an average Nigerian has not even hit and then he sees a flyover his head, the whole idea is, it's so crazy because most persons in Osun cannot even talk about, they don't even understand what the real issues are. Now, going back so that I will yield this thing for other persons. I think what we should do is to speak to how do we mobilize the critical mass of persons who can change the narrative in Nigeria. What Peter Obi did in 2023 was the fact that he spoke to the pain points of the youth. He represented the face of the youth, even though he's not in that demographic. 71% of Nigerian voters are persons below the age of 35 years. And then somebody came to say, these are your pain points. I represent the face. I want to do this. It wasn't about the SPV. They were looking at that personality.
That person.
So how do you convert that critical mass, right? How do you convert them into electoral politics? And that's what we should be talking about right now. And then we need to tell Nigerians, especially the young people, to stop complaining and ranting. When I see young people on X writing rubbish, I wonder why. Have you become a card-carrying member of a political party? Because you have not even started if you have not become a card-carrying member. I led a very strong support group. I founded it when I was in the PDP. This is Dr. Pierce here, but my glasses deliberately were on because I know you can see me clearly right now. What we did, there are 176,864 polling units in Nigeria. And at the time, my organization decided to say, can we have 200 young people, young youth and students in each of the polling units? If you do that by 176,000, you have 36 million. If you have 36 million people, and then you conscientize them, and you give them a proper orientation about what a nation state is, and how to drive policies of government, and then these people buy into this idea. Just imagine if just 10 or 20% of them come out on election day to vote. So the point is, number one, we don't have the critical mass. We don't have the number of persons. We have over 102 registered people with, voters card in Nigeria, how many of them voted in the
And that's a
2023
very,
election?
very valid point, because we saw that play out.
So
Yes.
sorry, as I conclude,
Yes.
you have 8,840 words, right? And then you have 774 local governments in Nigeria. We should be talking about how to have what you call Council of State, or what you have COG in each of these LGs. You need to have persons who are different, who are thinking differently from the kind of persons we have right now. Immediately Ademola Adeleke won, he ran to Abuja. Then you saw Davido and Wike.
Yes.
And you begin to see what are we doing? These are the same establishments. So there's
But
nothing.
I just want to bring Dr. Adetokunbo Pierce into this conversation, because yes, please, just so I have a lot of questions for you, but I want to bring you into the conversation, because now if you look at the situation that we are in, what you're explaining is valid, right? Thank you so much, Doctor. What you're explaining is valid, but at the end of the day, that might, to reorient a person's mind will take some time, right? That will take some time. It will take a while for someone to believe that you don't need to be popular to be an effective leader. Because right now, for Nigerians, popularity equals efficiency. So based on everything we have spoken about today, Mr. Pierce, what are your thoughts on these issues?
Let me try to stay on point.
Yes.
Because everybody has spoken very well, very valid. But to the larger picture of, can we have a credible election in Nigeria? I'm going to tell you right away, no. And I'll give you the reasons why. I lived in the United States for 25 years and worked in politics. And also, I was a teacher in the university system. So I have a lot of contact with people, young people. I tell you, so long as you have a president whose mantra in politics is grab the ballot, snatch it, run away with it, forget about valid election. So long as you have a system whereby that president, whoever he is, at any time in time, whoever he or she is, one day is going to be she in Nigeria by the grace of God.
Amen.
I think that so long as you have a system whereby the president is the one appointing the INEC chairman and the INEC commissioners, how can you expect a valid election? This is why we've had all this confusion about our politics. The 1999 Constitution is a bogus document. It has to be reviewed. If we don't do that, we're wasting our time. Look, I've been in every election. I'm not going to shy away, but I know that the obstacles are very many. When you have, look at what the chairman of INEC is doing. Let's not deceive ourselves. The man is a pundit, is a paid anarchist. I mean, the man, every election we've had, you're talking about Ekiti, Anambra. Go back a few more months. Edo?
Yes.
Ondo? What happened in Edo? 24%. And it was war. What happened in Osun should give us not consolation, not hope. Because the people of Osun did not win, they lost their lives trying to vote.
They did.
Come on. The president and his party took war to Osun State. It is illegal. It is unquestionable. It is unforgiving. It is terrible. This is the situation we have. How can you expect? What happened in Osun was a call to anarchy by the president, who said a few weeks before the election that all is fair in politics. I want to remind him that if he wants to declare war on Nigeria, Nigeria will declare war on him. He better be ready. He better be ready, because there are rules even in war. Even in shooting war, there are rules. There's some things you can't do. You can't go take money and buy votes and say you have an election. You can't intimidate people. You can't be shooting and killing people. That was political banditry of the type that Pastor Bakare spoke about a few months ago, when he called President Tinubu to book and said, you, Mr. President, you are the one leading this and enabling all of this rubbish. That's what happened in Osun.
Okay.
I pity the people of Osun. I continue to pray for them. I have friends in Osun who are still calling me now that they are still afraid for their lives. That is politics in Nigeria. So let us be ready for war in 2027, because the president and his party are going to declare war on Nigeria. So Nigerians, be ready to fight back. That's what I say.
Thank you so much for what you've just said. And I just want to put a number in the middle of this table. An investigation into that single state election, just, Osun State now, puts total spending at more than 29 billion naira. The legal limit, I believe, for a governorship candidate is 3 billion. Now, voters were, of course, reportedly paid, like I said, between 2,500 and 20,000 naira each. 15,000 police officers and more than 10,000 civil defense personnel were deployed. At least 29 people, just like you've mentioned, died in election-related violence in Osun since October. Here's the tricky part. The EFCC has made one arrest. One arrest. And now my question is, who is that a failure of? Who holds responsibility for the failure of accountability for the people who are affected by electoral violence, by the injustices? Because realistically, Mr. Pierce, if you're saying that Nigerians should prepare, let's put that in an actual conversation. What exactly are Nigerians expected to do? First of all, voter apathy continues to get lower. Nigerians do not even want to vote because Nigerians do not want to be involved. This was clearly shown in the entire process of Nigerians protesting during NSAS, where a lot of Nigerians still didn't come out. So if we can't even take Nigerian youths, like you said, the highest population, Nigerian youth, serious when they come out to protest a system that is fundamentally flawed, why should they now be expected to fight in the way that you have described? What does fighting mean?
What has happened in Osun is a good example, a good template. The people fought for their rights, and they defended their vote. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
That's what we are going to do in 2027. And let me tell you, before you start saying Nigerian youth are not coming out, they're not coming out because they don't want to be killed. They don't want to be shot. Would you send your child to Sokoto to go and you service when you know he or she may not survive? Why do you think people don't want to vote? Look at what happened in Edo. I'll never forget what happened in Edo. People voted. The results came out in the polling unit. By the time it got to the collation center, Wiki and Co., they changed the whole thing. That is why people don't want to vote. In the last presidential election, 2023, 90 million people registered to vote. 28 million people voted. Nobody wants to vote. Only people who are directly involved. Only very few courageous people. So, first and foremost, you blame the criminal leadership in this country. Irresponsible, reckless people who go into government just to steal the people's mandate and to intimidate people. That's the one you blame, not the people who don't come out to vote. Those are the victims of this leadership. So we have to first and foremost hold leadership accountable. But what I'll say to our people is, when you are going to vote, think about who you are voting for. Don't forget about whether they are illiterate, whether they are this or that. It doesn't matter. We keep on talking to them. Vote for people who have credibility, who have integrity, who at least say, do you know something about politics? Do you know that no politician tells a lie before they get into office? They actually tell you what they're going to do.
Yes.
If we don't listen properly, is we don't listen. Did Tinubu tell you is campaigning for Yoruba people? No. For Nigeria? No. For anybody? No. He said, it's me. It's my turn. They say what they're going to do. Nigerians, listen and vote for whoever you think. All of them. Nobody is perfect. Nobody is perfect. In any society, no politician is going to come and be a messiah. But of the bad lot, vote for the best. That's what I say.
And that's a very valid point. I think I've heard you say this before. There's no Messiah, but we have to vote from the best from what we currently have. Now, I want to also remind everyone who's watching right now that we're still asking you the same question as well. And we want you to engage. We want you to get involved in the conversation. Mr. Olajide Eston, of course, I've been seeing you. I'm going to come back to you, Mr. Victor Okai, of course. Now, before we wrap things up, because we have a whole other set of questions within the same context of this conversation, because we have been focusing on the ballot. I want us to have you wrap your thought process in 60 seconds, and then we will proceed to the next part, which of course will really speak to INEC and, you know, the umpire in general as it pertains to elections. Yes, please.
Thank you. First of all, the society we are in is not put in place or structured to serve its people. It's structured to serve the elite. And there is one problem we have which has to do with illusion of leadership choice. And that makes us see leadership in the same people who keep on destroying our people's life. And even if we consider it from the point of educational system, we are programmed on what to think, not how to think. That is why we don't have clear understanding of what leadership should
How do you
be all
tell
about.
people that have not eaten
That
what
is-
you are describing?
That is why I say they are taking advantage of existing problems. And those who benefit from your problems can never offer you any resolution. That is why I've been talking about social structures. When you're able to bring people of great minds together, to build a kind of social structure that have proper determination for real leadership. Not the kind of leader. Okay, someone talk about 20 billion. How would you expect someone who is spending 20 billion not to be desperate? People, and in Nigeria, we don't invest in leadership. We are thinking of what can you give me before I vote for you, instead of how can you make, things work for us? How can
Okay.
So that is it. So, and now we have to, bring people. I have an organization, even in Osun election, I can tell you here, as governorship candidate, no manifesto in the history of governorship election in Nigeria comes close to my manifesto, because it is more focused on things that
I
are
want to ask
foundational.
a very direct question. Why do you think that you didn't win this election? In a sentence.
That I'm going to win?
No, did not. Like, if you're looking at the election, right, if
Okay.
you're looking at the entire process, what would you say the major challenge towards winning is?
Thank you. One of the,
Just a sentence.
Okay, let me just say it like this. One of the reasons why is that I'm not interested in playing money politics.
Thank you. I think that just cements it, because you're not interested in playing money
Because
politics.
if I actually want to serve there, I wouldn't be giving you money.
Okay. I want to bring Mr. Darmala into the conversation. 60 seconds to wrap this. And I think we're going to discuss that money. We're going to go into it in detail in when we're getting into your panel. Let's have you wrap up the thought process, of course, looking at the ballot, the game, the power of money within Osun, from APC's perspective this time around, considering we've spoken a lot about our code, a lot has been said about the party as well. How would you sum it up as we wrap up this segment?
For me, I think I will be very, very sincere, because I think it's that time we begin to have a very serious conversation and about all these things. Particularly for the youth, we need to get involved, in the party affairs and electoral processes and civic education and so on. I think for me, what has happened in Osun has shown us that, of course, there's still a lot that we need to, manage and also, put in place for us to have a perfect election. But one thing I keep saying is that I won't dwell much on the challenges. I will dwell more on the fact that are we improving, in our processes. For me, we talk more about leadership. What about the people? People collect this money and they still go vote. What if they say no to money collection and so on? We still have the same results.
But that's exactly what he was just saying.
Yes,
You're
that's
weaponizing
what
a
I'm
system.
saying. If you look at some of the things most speakers said, the direction has always been leadership, poor leadership. What about the people? So there's still a lot that we need to do, particularly.
Sir, your mic. Yes, please.
So there's still a lot.
Talking about the people, you are talking about victims.
There's still
the people are the victims.
There's still a lot that we need to do, because if we want to engage in that, I think we will not live here. because we are on the field and we see a lot of things. And one thing I would say is the fact that we need to be serious about our electoral process in Nigeria. And in doing that, it's not just only the leadership. It has to do with all round, from the people to the processes and everything.
So let me ask you one question as well.
Yeah.
In one sentence, as a Nigerian citizen, what am I not doing right to ensure that I have a good leader? For the average Nigerian citizen, what am I not doing right? Give me at least one or two examples of what I'm not doing right.
The journey to having a good leader is not a day journey, and I'll give you an example. He mentioned the issue of party being SPVs. We have APC and we have persons who has been in APC from even the transitioning from the party to what we have today. We have value. One thing APC is known for is the fact that we members, we have values that we keep and the way we progress in the party. So you don't expect people who just come and don't understand what structure means. So basically, new people within the party do not stand a chance, is what you're trying to say. No, that's what I'm saying. Of course, if you are in the party, we have we also have our internal democracy within the party.
Okay.
We have our internal, and that's why you see when he was saying that.
But my question to you, because I don't want us to get into the
because
politics
you keep
of
distracting
APC.
me when I'm trying to make my point.
Okay,
right?
okay, proceed.
When he was referring to our president mentioning something, we were having an internal party meeting when he made such statement. It doesn't, it means that is a generalized statement to the country.
It is. If we see it, it is.
It's within the party. Those are meetings when we are meeting the party, and the fact still remains that we have value that we are upholding, and for a fact, President Tinubu has done some major. Has done some major and things, particularly in this administration, that has moved us forward, and that's the truth. So it can only get better from now to have more results, and that's why I said, do we have a stronger democracy? Looking at the party system, the results we're having.
Sir, my question hasn't been answered, right? I'm not an APC member. I'm a Nigerian, right? And whatever internal democracy happens within APC is fantastic. But democracy is government for the people, government by the people, government of the people. It is to serve the people. So whatever structure has been created within the APC is so that as a Nigerian citizen, I can go outside and I can buy a bag of rice. And I know that the money that I earn, my minimum wage, should be able to afford me a certain standard of living that is decent. It is so that I can travel by road and I know that I'm going to come back home safe. I'm not afraid. I don't have to hire 2 Hiluxes that's going to cost millions to travel. Whereas there are people that can't even afford to take bus. That is what democracy is supposed to do for me. So again, I ask, you said that the onus lies on the people. What are we not doing right? Based on everything that has been done, what the president said, he said it was for the APC. Okay, no problem. Maybe there's something that we're not seeing. How can we do better so that we can get the country that we deserve, since the onus lies on the people?
It's simple. Participating in the electionary process.
How?
We have the issue of people not coming out to vote now. That's a challenge.
Okay.
The system we have now doesn't say you should not come and vote for any candidates that you have. He went to the poll.
But if you come out and vote,
he went to the poll. He contested. He has his own people. He has votes.
Threatening us, sir. I'm talking. This is me and you. Yeah. Like I said, I'm not I'm an entertainment journalist, sir. Okay, so I'm as Nigerian as they come. Yeah. But if I go outside to vote, they are threats.
Especially in Lagos, if you're from certain
I was just giving an analysis
but
of the number of people who have been
in the last election, we lost Lagos. In the last election, so it's not only by APC. The voices of people come. We lost Lagos.
Don't put him on the spot so much. Is that enough?
No, we lost Lagos in the last election.
Okay.
Presidential election. We lost. That means people votes count.
Sir, I just want you to tell
Oshun,
me.
we lost Oshun.
Okay.
That means we are not winning Oshun.
Okay.
So that means people vote. People votes has been aired. But the fact remains that we will continue to make sure that
we do better.
sensitize people.
Okay.
Come out to vote.
In fairness to you, I think he answered by saying people need to participate.
Exactly. I was about to say that is it.
That's one.
You want to answer for him?
Well, I just want to add.
Please, sir, can you use your mic so that we can get your audio
You see,
properly?
the point is.
And please briefly, because you are aiding.
I'm very brief. Nigerians must stop complaining about our problems. We've talked about them for too long. And when you talk about a problem for too long, you give it too much power. Okay? We should take actions. The action is first, become a card-carrying member of a political party.
So in your opinion, every Nigerian should be a card-carrying member?
Nigerians who want change should do that. And secondly, Nigerians should know that, see, whether we like it or not, we are going to take this thing by force.
Please, if you have questions, I'm so sorry, sir. I'm so sorry to cut you short. If you have questions, please just write it down. I just want to let him land on his thoughts and then...
My very final point is...
Yes.
My very final point is, Nigerians should understand that the politicians need Nigeria more than Nigerians need Nigeria.
Okay.
This is the market for the political class.
Okay, Mr.
And they're not going
Suleiman.
to lose it. So Nigerians should take their country back. And the way you can take your country back, stop being a spectator, be part of the process. Become a card-carrying member of a political party. And that is when you can begin to, your voice counts. When you stay out there and you lament and you shout and you talk, you are wasting your time.
Please, just one. Very short sentence. You don't have to be a member of any party. I would wish everybody was a member of my PDP, for goodness sake, but it's not necessary at all. You must have a PPC. So you can vote for anybody you want. That's most important than being a member of a party. You must have a voting document. And we talk about that because what we have right now is not acceptable.
Okay, Mr. Saka.
Remember, I worked against Jonathan. But a quick one from me.
Yes. You wrap things up, Mr. Suleiman.
Sorry, democracy in Nigeria is government. Yes, now. You see, democracy in Nigeria is government of some people, by some people, for some people.
That is our own definition.
That's what is really happening in Nigeria. Then two things. You see, the sets of leaders we have, they didn't fall from space. They came out from us. You might not want to accept this. Nigerians are bad. That's the truth. I've stopped fighting for Nigeria because they ask you, Talon, who sent you on an errand? I've seen Nigerians. I'm still going to come to what the political class they do deliberately. Nigerians will go, okay, Niger Bridge. Who's vandalizing it?
Okay.
Major roads in Lagos, you see people go on the street, start digging because they want to sell in traffic.
Yes.
Now that is, that's just citing how bad we are as now. Well, let me tell you what the political class are doing. There is no way you can wrestle power from them. You think they don't fix the infrastructure? You think they don't know what they are doing? You think they are not giving 24 hours, 24/7? You think they don't know what they are doing? You can't go through that stress and have time to come and drag power with them. It's deliberate. You can't be in traffic on Third Mainland Bridge. You are going to Yanokpa. Why do they think they make rent unrealistic in some choices area in Lagos State? That means you have to go to Ikorodu, Lambe, Ishashi, Akute, whatever. By the time you get home, you're exhausted. You get there's no light gen. By the time you wake up 5 a.m., where's the time for you to go and participate in politics? You think they don't know what they are doing? It's deadly because, and you know what? Because they know Nigerians are wicked as a people. So they are being wicked, and that's the truth. Not all Nigerians. But majority of, you might not want to accept it, but that's the bitter truth. Our leaders are a product of our values and character. If we are good, those people, they're good from us now. They are neighbors, they are cousins, your uncles. So what would they do differently?
Dr. Okai, you have sighed a lot. I think they are thoughts.
That's just my submission.
Mr. Suleiman, before I come to the panel, let's hear, because I'm going to be honest to say that when I hear you say Nigerians are the problem, I think we have very contrasting views here because I'm hearing the government and I'm hearing the people as well. But Mr. Suleiman, let's hear what you have to say about this as well.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think that this new crop of generation is even going to be worst if we are not careful in the country because the current politicians, they are not even giving you a platform that makes you see government as a platform to serve but as an avenue making platform. That's what we are seeing lately. And if you interrogate maybe like 2, 3, 4 you who are, youth politicians, you discover that most of them, the orientation they are even having lately is nothing to write home about. That aside, now enough of we talking about or faulting whether it is people not being oriented properly to go vote for their choice, or they are scared of going into the electioneering process itself. Now let's look at it from this perspective. Our electoral, our electioneering system is even faulty, so to speak. The fact that the Constitution gives the president the exclusive right to appoint the number one person to conduct an election in the country is a problem. It's centralized. If you look at developed countries, it's not perfect everywhere, but if you look at developed countries, there's a system that it's a decentralized system. If you look at, let's cite US as an example. In United States of America, states conduct their election, and each representative, account for whatever vote has been done in that place. And at the end of the day, it is the electoral colleges that will determine who, not by popular vote. I'm not even asking us to imitate such, but at least we should try to limit the power of president appointing certain, because this is an election that deals with everybody. Why is one person making the choice of the chairman of the electoral body itself? That's just my own subject.
But he's also contesting.
Please, if anyone disagrees with any opinion that has been given, I would like you to signify. But before, because I know, I'm trying to take the conversation around. I want to touch on something that has already been said, and I want to bring Mr. Dr. Okai, into this conversation. Now, of course, I know that you have run for president before. You know exactly what it takes, and I think we're missing out on a very vital issue. We've talked about the responsibility of the people versus the responsibility of the leader, but then there is that endorsement factor. Because everyone says, oh yes, everyone in opposition says the system is rigged. No one will ever admit that, okay, I'm from my party. Everyone would say my party is the best, rather. But opposition would always say that system is rigged, because there is still that endorsement factor. So bringing that into the entire mix of conversation that we are having, what exactly are our issues with regards to conducting these elections peacefully? Is it that all of us need to now become party members? Because if you look at the population of Nigeria, do we even have enough parties to carry every single eligible person in this country to be within a party? Is that the problem right now?
Okay, so you've said so many things and I'm a bit confused. Yes, you talked about the endorsement thing, which I didn't quite get, and then you jumped into other issues. So maybe I should just speak generally.
Yes.
Okay. Let me start by, based on experience now, and I was at the town hall, but at the studio doing analysis. I listened to him. He and the guy from, yes, one of those other parties, the medical doctor. I was quite impressed. But here's the thing. In this country, let me use an example from when I ran with Fela Durotoye and the rest of them. Some of these parties were registered just few months before election. And then you expect an infant, you say, okay, because he attempted to run and he failed, or he fell, and then you just say, okay, look, that means you don't stand a chance, you don't even have, and so you say, no, that party be deregistered. You never gave that baby any chance to grow, to be able to become an adult and to be able to compete. Okay? So the reason you still have parties like, well, maybe not even Accord, but a few, and a few of them that are still there, because perhaps they had one strong candidate at the local government level or so, and I think it is seriously, it is unfair. It is not. You don't give people a chance. He said something about, when you asked him about why, it was a bit economical with the truth. The truth is, you don't have the money. Not that you can't do money politics. Politics is about money. Let's be honest. Okay? And when he was giving the stats about the number of polling units, being about 100 and... Okay. So because you have to have polling agents, and I'm speaking from experience now, your vote cannot be protected where you're not present.
Yes, absolutely.
So in spite of what has happened to PDP, it still has one of the best structures, around the country, in spite of what has happened. Everywhere. Yes, because they're everywhere. But what is missing, and I throw that challenge today, you have a strong personality today in APC. God forbid, he will do his term as long as Nigerians give him. But if anything were to happen to him today, I promise you, APC that you see today, there's no rallying point. I promise you, I guarantee you, that party will disintegrate. It will be like a dream. Because there's no even, and that's what's even still holding Lagos State. There is no proper structure. We think there is. There is a semblance of it, but there's not. That's what happened to PDP. No strong personality anymore. And then they try to dismantle it. You understand what I'm saying? So let's be honest about that. Now, coming back to, I'm simply jumping here and there, but okay.
Yes, I mean, that's okay. Just you can.
So now, can there be free and fair elections? He's spoken very well. When you look at the way it is right now, is it possible? I'd say a yes, and maybe not an immediate yes, okay? I'm not going to say no outrightly. Oshun demonstrated something. I heard the man from APC acting magnanimous and all. Truth is, you had no choice. You lost it because the people stood and they defended. And they said, they did everything. You see that gap? Look, 17 governors were done. I don't know where I got your 29 billion from. The money that came into Oshun, I introduced a new lexicon. Maybe it exists elsewhere about electoral tourism. Okay, the amount of money that came into Oshun. Did you not see the governors who were sneaking and the 57 members of parliament who were sneaking out in the dead of night? Yeah. They tried everything to get that seat. It mattered to the president. It was so important, it was critical for the president. But you know what? People's power. When people come together, it will humble the politicians. And he said something. It is about the people. Do you understand what I'm saying? When the people decide, the market is the people, our votes. That's what they're clamoring for. They better be afraid of us. But first, for them to be afraid, we must know that we have the power. We must know it's about us, which is why they're interested in impoverishing people. But you know what? It gets to a point where it won't work anymore. And I think we're getting to that point now where the citizens, having gone through what we've gone through in the past 3 years or 3.5 years, people have now seen that, many are now saying, never again. Yeah. You can come with your money, you can do all that you want, but we're not going to be fooled. But it's not going to be easy. Like Dr. Pierce has said, the judiciary, they appoint, the umpire, they appoint, the security agency heads, they appoint. The entire process are beholden to one authority. The
incumbent.
Yes. However, when people stand, and we've seen it happen in many countries.
Well, you also just said that if you don't have an agent in each polling unit, what are your chances? So what are the chances of the people who stand if the politician does not have the funds, like you have just said, to have a polling unit in each, an agent in each polling unit?
That's the reason why it will be so easy, because it will be so easy to, how do I put it, to manipulate, to game the system, because people have been deliberate. Look, let me share an experience with you. You may not have that, you may not suffer that. I used to do big business. I used to do business with a lot of big clients and all that. As soon as it was election time and after election, I heard the first time in my life the word PEP, politically exposed person. You know what? If by mistake, your state governor will not do that to you. He doesn't have power over banks and all those accounts and all that. I'm just saying, If by mistake you contest against an incumbent at the national level, if you are working for a Dangote, for instance, and by chance any of his subsidiaries, where you do business normally, they say, so you're financing my opponents. They are that terrible. I'm a victim, I'm speaking from experience. How much are they giving me? This is business I do normally. And then the banks will say, look, it's the clients I had it from, not the banks. Is there in the banks? But you are labeled in the banks first as a PEP. But the client says, sorry, we can't deal with you anymore because you are a PEP, a politically exposed person. What they're saying is, we don't want the wahala of this orgazo. This is how terrible it is.
And you want all of us to be card carrying members.
Ladies and gentlemen.
What tries his point?
Let's let Barrister Adesi.
Cap on how much an individual can make. Once a certain amount of money hits your account, quote me anywhere, you answer questions.
They won't answer. The incumbents will not answer.
No, you as a person,
as an individual, let's hear from Barrister.
Just for let's 200 million.
Yes.
Enter your corporate account. You explain.
Let me just quickly chip in something about APC internal mechanisms. You see, governors entering the state or high-profile politician doesn't mean that they are bringing money into the state. Let me correct that, because we have a campaign council that we always constitute at every election, and in that campaign council, every chairman of every committee there are either governors. Wait, no.
Giving them the money.
Let me be honest with you. I was there throughout the time. I was there throughout the time of election for Osun.
Where is the money coming from? Where's the money coming from?
See, excuse me, sir.
Who is providing the money?
Do you know how many high-profile personality came to Osun?
How did that
that day? We have a lot of people. You can't. It's a wrong assumption that everybody comes to the state. Either you are a minister or a governor coming to the state. Because we have a campaign council. We have a campaign council.
Who is financing the campaign council?
Of course, the party will do. But it doesn't mean that me as a minister, I'm coming with money.
Wait,
we have a lot of
don't be on our face.
No, that's the truth.
For Ondo election, the election of Aketi, even senators were contributed to that campaign fund. Governors did.
No, contractors. Excuse me. What I'm saying is that either they contributed or not, but we cannot generalize an assumption that.
What is the general?
That me coming as a serving minister of a party coming to the state, I'm coming automatically with the state. That's a wrong assumption. We are all coming to support our party. We have internal party crisis. We have internal party crisis in Osun, which we are coming to resolve and support the governor. That's it.
Okay.
Not all support are financial. Some are moral. That night, governors were going.
Your own may be moral. You don't have the money to give them.
I'm not saying.
I can speak for yourself.
That night alone, most people were solving problems in the party. So it doesn't mean that we are coming with money.
Please, listen to this carefully. Listen to this carefully. You are not at a level to speak for the APC.
Yes.
You are a small boy. Your level is very, very low. I'll tell you this. Can you hear me? I was a member of the Lagos State Gubernatorial Advisory Committee when Fashola was governor. My colleagues on the committee were the state chairman, Ajomale, Bajabi Amila, who is now the chief of staff, Adeleke, okay, Teju Osho, House of Assembly. Yes. Who else was there? These were my colleagues. Mamora, Senator Mamora, these are my colleagues. So you don't know what's happening in the party. I'm telling you this. And by the way, President Tinubu is a personal friend of mine. He's not my friend anymore. He was when I thought he was going to do well for Nigeria until he became president and failed totally in every way. But I got to tell you, how can you, don't bother to excuse these people. You don't know what's happening. You don't know what's happening. How can they come? Let me tell you, they don't have to tell you in the party, in any party, when you are at a certain level, senator or a governor, what are you coming to do there? Who's going to finance the party, the election? Do you know that before now, as they were preparing for 2027, how many governors have donated something like 350 billion into the president's campaign council? Of course. Everybody is involved. So don't worry to explain this, not your business.
The war chest that Aketi used, in fact, PDP was an unserious party in that election. To see the gubernatorial election with 100 million naira. This party has embarrassed us, PDP.
Let's. I want to.
Let me clarify. Sorry.
I was going to say you should use the mic, but you want to respond? Yes.
I'm not. Party finances is different from what I'm trying to say. I'm saying that you have alleged that every governor or anybody coming to the states are coming to finance doing elections.
Nobody has used word everybody.
No. I'm just saying.
You quote what we say.
I'm just saying that
what you
we have a campaign council list.
Mm-hmm.
We have a chairman. We have members, we have vice chairman, everything.
Of course,
during the campaign, no, I'm not saying that. Not every party has a campaign financing team. That's normal for every party. So, but everybody coming there, sometimes
we money.
Mr. Esson, you were saying something valid, and I wanted you to buttress on that with regards to the money that is coming in. Could you just, because you didn't have the microphone when you were speaking.
First of all, this money are public funds, and most of the time we overlook and we don't even question them. This is not the personal money. And another issue is that we focus more on problems in Nigeria. We don't focus on solution. Even sometimes when we are talking about political issues, it's just like we are making predictions. We are not talking about those who have the real capacity to lead and who understand the problems we have. And another thing is that, what we call structure in Nigeria today, I call it structure of criminality. They put them in place to buy votes across polling units during the election. And no solution can come through that. Earlier I spoke about social structure, that every one of us who actually want this society to work should be involved in. Social structure in the sense that we know that, okay, this is what our society wants and this is what our society needs. And we bring heads together. Without doing that, no amount of money you can spend that is not going to, go in waste, because when you are spending money with people who have the state fund or the federal government are in charge of federal government account, and they have the machineries and all that, and they are also in charge of INEC, who is going to win? So the best thing is to make sure that people come together. It's like a kind of something liberational. So something that can make people understand that this is where we are as a society and this is what we need to do.
Dr. Ayodele, you lead the National Youth Students Movement, right? And I think that directly answers what he's just mentioned. So the hard question, right? Registered voters do not vote. Is it the umpire? Is it INEC? Is it us? Is it the leaders? What are the issues?
Okay, so I think that the question directly is for everybody, or everybody, stakeholder. Like Dr. Kai said, the police, the institution itself, the security forces, even the media and the Nigerian, the voters. But I would like to be very pragmatic. I feel that we talk every time in Nigeria about our problems. And we give power to these problems. And the problems don't go away. What are the solutions? I talked about 176,864 polling units. Imagine if we mobilize 200 young people, youth and students at the polling unit level, multiply by 176, that's 6 million people. Imagine when you properly articulate your points, their pain points, and then you look for a face that represents our pain points. That was the effort Peter Obi made in 2023. He didn't have these watches that he talked about. He didn't have stolen funds from the government, but there was crowdfunding, right? So imagine if 100 people, each of them contribute 100 naira monthly basis for 36 million, that is 3.6 billion. If you do that for 12 months, that's 4.3 trillion. That can deliver 774 local government chairmen who have the idea of a new Nigeria is possible. That's going to lead the revolution. So let us talk about how tech. It is true that we are making some marginal progress in Nigeria. When we introduced BVAS, we are not where we used to be when it was card reader. When it was card reader, we're not where it used to be when they were just using hand to write it during Obasanjo's 1999 era. They took everywhere. So let's not just pretend as if we are making incremental progress. So what we need to do now is, first, let us galvanize our people. Let us mobilize people into this process. Let them understand. And I appreciate what Dr. Pierce and Dr. Kai said. Fine, everybody cannot be card-carrying members. But I just wanted people to be more serious when I said people should progress. When you have your PVC, that is the first step. Then go ahead. Because the point is, people should understand that when you don't participate in the process, you are part of the problem that we have. somebody will make that decision on your behalf. If you don't, if you say, oh, it is their thing, Nigerians cannot stay aloof and say, oh, no, even if we vote. People should now understand that with the introduction of beavers, the numbers are increasing. The participation in Osun is now over 40%. Prior to 2022, it was about 24%.
Yeah.
So we are moving, people are coming out. So, and then people know that the establishment, the institution, they were going to be, harassed and all that. They still came out. Truth is, the 404 people that voted for APC in Osun, they are still Osun electorates. Do you understand? So, the issue of vote buying, all parties are guilty of that. Let me tell you the truth. In 2023 election, the Labour Party bought election. They paid 9,000 naira in some areas. Do you understand? They paid. So let's not be too. They paid. The APC paid as high as 20, 30,000. Even PDP paid. Dr. Pierce here knows that some of us were. Well, I'm just telling you. Some of us were there when money was brought in. Ghana must go. Dollars was brought into a hotel here to share, and we know those who collected it for Lagos PDP. So it is not true. It is not true that maybe APC is the corporate here, PDP is better, or Labour Party. Labour Party buys election, but we have just said the ground on which is the constitution needs to be amended.
Dr. Pierce,
we need to have independent candidates.
Yes, please.
Let me say this about the PVC and the membership. From what you are saying, I can see the reason why you say people should be a member of a party. I've always advocated, made a fantastic point. Every member of a political party should be a financial member. If each person in the party just puts down 5,000 naira a month or something, you don't need money from the national as we do now. That's one. I agree with you there. There's also the issue, Doc, all this thing about finance and money. Let me tell you the way money goes in Nigerian politics. By the way, you ran for president, I've ran for governor, I ran for senate, I did it. But now I'm running for governor again, by the grace of God. Now, let me tell you, the difference between, by the way, I ran for Congress also in the United States in 2004. I have experience as a political strategist and as a candidate. I'll tell you this. The difference, in fact, I believe sincerely, I haven't lived in the United States for 25 years. There's more corruption there by far than in Nigeria. The difference is this law enforcement. That's the only difference. So our people are innocent. When you talk about people being devilish, come to New York. You move here, your life is not safe anywhere. I got to tell you, this money business, in the United States, you cannot bring money to a polling booth or to any election. That is the difference. Everybody needs money to conduct election. But what you do as a candidate, you raise your money, your supporters, 50,000 here, 2,000 there. It's enough for you to run your election. If you don't, we don't pay people who are agents in the United States. It is members of your party who will go in. And by the way, I'm going to tell you something about APC, which most people don't know. APC doesn't pay agents. So APC members are dedicated members of the party. That is one problem that PDP has not understood. You must make yourself committed to your party. It is the leaders in APC that are very, very corrupt. The party members are dedicated people. Now, what you do is you illegalize paying for votes. That's what we should do in Nigeria. It must not be. So our constitution and our laws to be enforced, that is where the most of our problem is. Not that we are a bad system, but if we don't enforce the law, for instance, look at what happened in 2023. 31% of the votes came in, was the former INEC chairman, who is now a commissioner somewhere. Yeah, he's now ambassador somewhere.
Are you talking about Jega?
No, Yakub Mahmoud. He announced the results. It's illegal. We should have had a runoff in 2023, but we didn't. So it is enforcement of the law. And when people say Nigerians are this, look, if Nigerians were so bad, how come APC got 460-something thousand votes? Huh? So Nigerians, look, they are normal people. Okay. If you talk about buying votes, how many votes did Tinubu buy in 2023? How many votes did Obi buy? All of them. Obi scored, he won 12 states. Tinubu won 12 states. Atiku won 12 states. So, all of them won 12. All of them won 12. So this is the issue. This is the issue, even 11, 12, you know, about the same. This is the issue in Nigeria. You know, it is not people who, our voters who vote in election. The 20%, 23% you see are members of the party mainly. So you don't pay members of the party to vote. You pay members of the party to be agents and canvassers, which we should not do. But that's where the money goes. So it's not as if, money is just flowing all over the place. We must enforce the law. That's the key for us.
All right. Yes, sir.
It's for me.
Saka.
When we say we need to educate voters, we need to have Nigerians should demand more and everything, we are forgetting one critical thing, that we have a diverse value system across the country.
In what sense?
What is good in Southwest is not good in Northern Nigeria. What they see as a norm in Northern Nigeria.
Give us context.
I'll give you an instance. Marrying a minor in Southern Nigeria is a crime.
It's a crime all over.
No,
it should be a crime all over.
As you just assume.
Yes.
In Northern Nigeria, it is not.
But it's not been domesticated.
In the penal code, in Southern Nigeria, we are operating the Criminal Justice Act. In Northern Nigeria, they are still under the Criminal Penal Code.
But then there is the Child Rights Act as well, though.
Not all
Even
states
if not all states have taken it up.
I'm coming. Do you know that is why Yunusa Bello could come to Bayelsa State, marry a minor, and people from Kano were rising up to even got him a lawyer. So we don't have a unified or united value system for us to say this is what we consider good governance. To an average northerner, they are finding at the but most of them still believe it's good. Some just believe that once they can just find where to sleep and wake up and they just go to your house and say Rankadede, they are good, they are fine. Once they can come to your house, sit down and break with you on during Ramadan, they are okay. In 2003, when we were doing our vision project, I saw a man. He was a member of House of Reps in Mena. He had 50 children. Alone, he can deliver his word.
How many wives?
Like 4.
That's a very valid question.
In Southwest,
very, very valid.
I think
question.
the greatest of the legendary person, maybe we will say, with no disrespect to him, that's Sonny Ade or MKO. No, and that is not, the guy is not a governor, he's not a billionaire. So we need to agree as a people. And we are talking about constitution. I think the 1999 constitution is upon us because of Afenifere. Because they rejected the draft of 1995 by Abacha. They said they were not part of that conference. That 1995 draft will go a long way in solving our problem in Nigeria, because every part of the country, at the end of it, will see themselves as equal stakeholder in the Nigerian project.
Okay, so here's what I want us to look at. We're looking at 141 days because we've said a lot. I don't know if 141 days is enough time for us to implement, but I definitely think that this conversation has been, for anyone who is watching, an absolute wake-up call for us to begin to think about what we want to do. But if you were in a single sentence, because I want us to begin to bring this conversation to a close, we have said so much. What do we need to do? What needs to change? What needs to be adjusted? what conversation needs to be had at this point in time between now and January? Because it isn't that far off. We don't have 2 more years, nor do we have 4 years to begin to say, okay, let's begin to form some of these organizations that you were talking about. We just have barely a couple of months. And the next few months is going to be what will decide our next 4 years, if we're being realistic, and possibly even the future after that. So what needs to be done realistically now? What can actually be done? I'm going to begin with you, Dr. Pierce, between now and the next 141 days to make sure that we deliver Nigeria.
First and foremost.
Your microphone, sir. Thank you.
First and foremost, for the president who has power over what happens, compel INEC to put all the political parties that are valid on the ballot. What they've done to us in PDP and ADC and every other party to destabilize us is wrong. That is why Nigeria will not have a legitimate election if we are not on the ballot. We must have a multi-party democracy, first and foremost. Secondly, to Nigerians, vote, get your PVC, vote and defend your vote the way they did in Osun State. Those are the two things. Very clear.
All right, I'm going to take over to you, Mr. Saka.
Yeah, I want to point this out. I disagree. It's not the president that will direct INEC to recognize parties or get them on the ballot. And to correct this, ADC has been in crisis since 2022. Bola Ahmed Tinubu became the president in 2023. ADC, I'll blame the opposition that out of their wisdom or other wisdom, you are going to pick a vehicle, your SPV, you went to pick a party in crisis. Dumebi Kachuku and other state chairmen have been at Loga Wiraf in Wosu since whenever. Even by the time they were going to the merger and acquisition, the guy staying in office was illegitimate by the constitution of his party. Now, moving forward, driving from mainland into the highland, Third Mainland Bridge, on the culverts and what have you, I kept seeing posters all over of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
And Hamzat.
And I'm the
guy running for governor who shouldn't be campaigning now.
No, I didn't see.
I'm campaigning for the last 3 months.
That is true.
Well, it's for them to take it. I'm coming. When we get into this Falomo, started saying Hamzat and WhatsApp. I'm still driving somewhere. Campaign started for presidential election August 19th. APC has constituted its presidential campaign council. Where is ADC presidential campaign council? Where is NDC presidential campaign council? Whether we like it or not, these things count and matters. These are the people that will take the messages and the message, whatever, to the grassroots. You guys are not serious as an opposition. And that is my opinion. I'm coming. I'm not talking about you as in. I'm talking about the opposition, not you.
That's your opinion. Very good.
I'm coming because the truth of the matter is they are not demonstrating. You see, you cannot just be there without putting any spirited fight or anything and start crying at the end of the day that you were rigged out. Because all these things will count at the end of the day. These are the people that will take your messages across board. The opposition should get serious. It's not good for those of us in PR that we don't have a viable opposition. To give if you're asking for a brief for a governorship campaign, I will tell you you're just going to get 400 million. I'm calculating my profit. But one is like, if these guys are saying that it's going to be just like a no-brainer for them, a no contest for them. Multi-party democracy is good for everybody. It deepens your democratic culture. It makes even those in office knows they have to sit up to do more because they will be kicked out. But your position is not alive.
The position is not alive.
Dr. Pierce, the microphone.
In power are trying every possible thing to kill the opposition. Please don't come here and give us this kind. Wait a minute, wait. Listen. You don't know. You are not a member of ADC.
Has ADC not been in crisis since 2022?
They are managing their crisis.
Every
political party has its crisis. APC has its own. But nobody is interfering with their power.
But is that INEC is responding and reacting to court pronouncements?
Yes.
ADC members.
So we will need you to hold the microphone if you're speaking.
The president said
Dr. Pierce.
that INEC is very neutral. I know from what you are saying, you agree with him. INEC has never been neutral under Yakubu and has never been neutral under Amokpito. It's obvious, bias to the core. So therefore, until that is addressed, you cannot exonerate the president. The president is the one that appointed INEC chairman and the commissioners. He's the one that should say, do your job fairly, be neutral. As I said, you are. They're not neutral. That is where the problem is.
Would you like to speak additionally?
But that is where the problem. Don't go into individual party issues. This party is not. Look, INEC's job is to, once you meet the criteria, which they say they have met, I can tell you in detail what happened to ADC, because I knew I was watching. INEC went into their first meeting, gave them the impression that everything was okay. And they went on and they elected their leaders. The next thing INEC did, disqualified them. They started running up and down. What did we do? What did happen to PDP? You say, oh, we have a problem. The minute the president sent a hatchet man to come and destroy the party. And the man is now claiming to be a member of PDP, and he's pronouncing, he's working for APC, and INEC is recognizing him. Come on. There was a court judgment, high court judgment, in March 2026. There was a Supreme Court judgment in April. There was a appeal court judgment in June, all saying to INEC, recognize the Turaki-led PDP. Take away people who have been expelled from the party, Anyanwu and co. Take away these people from your documents. INEC has refused to do that. And you are telling us here that INEC is neutral? INEC is doing his job? Please,
I appreciate the diverse
this
opinions.
is done, and until the president, everything stops with the president. He is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. That is why the armed forces cannot do anything, because he said when he was campaigning that he cannot even face this problem of insecurity because they will kill him if he does. It's on record. Look, listen. We are talking seriously here, and we shouldn't be biased. You should let Nigerians know. By the way, you know all this talk about Nigerians, they don't know what they're doing, they're illiterate. Go to the market. I go to the market too. I go to shop myself. Ask anybody selling pepper soup anywhere. They will tell you exactly what we are saying here. All the problems they know. All these problems they know. The problem we have in Nigeria is that impunity from the top. We cannot get justice. All of what we're talking now, if the law does not work in our favor, if the court is biased, if INEC is biased, if the security is biased against the people, where can we get justice? That is the problem in Nigeria.
That is frustrating. Dr. Ayodele, are you responding to the same issue? I would like you to hear Dr. Ayodele's response as well, and then you can just respond to that as once.
Okay, so you asked...
Your microphone?
You asked what
141 days, yes.
That should not just be a countdown. Yeah, that 141 days is sufficient enough, first, to educate, monitor, and defend democracy. One, on the part of the institution, INEC is still using, I think, Android 8.0 thereabouts, 10, which is what was used in 2023. I hope we will not hear another glitch in 2027. Because you talked about the size of the file. Now, when you are running election in 36 state plus...
Just to drop this in. Yeah. If you go to the INEC site, you will see betting companies and all sorts of things. That website is it just porous? In fact, it's an embarrassment to us as a nation. There's no time to talk about it. I wish we had. I would have told you so many things. But just go and visit it and you'll be embarrassed that these are your electoral umpires and that is where your results are going to come out from.
Thank you so very much. So I think there should be, by this time, they should have upgraded that OS, especially because you are going to be having large files on that day, and election will be running concurrently in 36 state plus F6.
Exactly.
That's one on the part of INEC. Then the security outfits, the media houses and all that, everybody should know that they have a place, a role to play. On the part of the citizenry, Now, Dr. Pierce talked about the market woman that they already know what we are discussing here. Many Nigerians who are so agitated, who are looking for a new Nigeria, they don't even know their voter status. Go and check if you will be able to vote that day. Many persons are relocated. These are things that government will not do for you. Go and check where your polling unit is. Many persons have left where they used to stay in 2023. They don't know where they are currently sitting. If you have not moved your PVC from your former place of residence, you have left one state to the other. These are things that nobody will do for you. These are things that the government will not do. These are things that is not the problem of Ebola Ahmed Tinubu or Atiku Abubakar. They are candidates in the election, but you have a role to play. Barrister here talked about the people and then the government. The followers, the followership itself also has a lot of problems, and that's what we are discussing. We've talked about leadership, but the truth is Nigerians also have a role to play in this.
Thank you for that, process. Dr. Victor Okai. I would like to hear from you as well. Like you said, it shouldn't just be a countdown, and you've given several instances and examples of what it should be for us. What does the next couple of months leading up to the presidential election, what should it look like for us Nigerians?
If it's to be, it's up to you and I.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I've summed it up. But let me just expand a little. Over and over, politicians have come. They have sold dummies to us. We have bought it. We have been fooled. And I'll say that there's a need for us to start from our immediate neighborhood to begin to sensitize our neighbors and let them know that if you collect money, you have sold your future. There's a need for us, even within our homes, to begin to talk to our kids, get them to register. Of course, you may not be able to influence their votes, or their voting pattern, but let them become politically aware, and they must take an active part, not necessarily in joining parties, but if you want things done, it's important to go there so that you can decide. But if you can't do that, then decide who represents you is very, very important. It's important for us to begin to expose our politicians now, demand more from them. People who have been there right now demand accountability, starting from your local government elected officials to the governors and the rest who are coming back. If we begin to challenge them, if we begin to demand of them accountability for what they've done,
yes.
Many of them, they don't like that. That's the truth. It's an uncomfortable situation. Many of them don't like it at all. But it's going to expose them and then also help us to take a decision. And let me say finally, and I'm not saying this for the benefit of those who will be watching this program. When you vote a man based on religion, if you vote a man based on the fact that he's your townsman, or you vote a man based on what other parameters can we use?
Religion,
I've said religion,
tribe.
yes, tribe, and all that. Know this: the most important person to you is your neighbor. When things happen, these politicians, once they have gotten into power, they don't remember you at all. They don't even know that you exist. So if you have made enemies with your neighbor on account of a politician, you have lost somebody who might save your life or your home. In case of a fire and you're not at home, that person that could have saved your home. And so it's important that we don't let them separate us anymore.
That's very important.
The most important person is that person that your religion, your tribe or ethnic group or whatever should be that person who will look after your interests. For once, let us be selfish. I don't know if you know what I mean by that. Selfishness in the sense that the closest person to you or whoever will deliver it, even if the person is from the opposite side of the world,
should not matter.
It should not matter. If that person can give you, can help your child go to school, if that person can deliver health care, let that person be the person we should vote for.
Thank you so much. Mr. Saka, yes. Okay, yes. Then, of course, I'll come to you.
Since it's something central that we've missed out in this conversation, the electoral 2026 is now in force. And if you look at that act, it is very important now that elections must be transmitted immediately from the polling unit. And that's what saved the day in Osun. So that is gratifying enough for Nigerians to know that you must come out that day to vote. Immediately, your results will be transferred, will be transmitted to IREF, and it goes straight, you can view it to
But they
IREF.
have given 2 options now. They say it may be transmitted.
That it's optional.
So they have created a loophole.
And that's actually very, very valid, Dr. Okai. It is optional.
They've created a loophole. And
So
that is
optional. Very, very,
it's
very
deliberate.
concerning. That optional thing is very, very, very concerning. But Mr. Saka, let me let you just land on the point you've been
I want
trying
to
to
respond
establish.
to what Dr. Perez said. When you say the president should give order to INEC, is impugning on the independence of INEC. If it could be if we could now sit down and say Amukuton is biased, what about what's this guy's name? Maurice Iwu under Obasanjo, PDP, our PDP. Secondly, no, our PDP. No.
So I don't want us to go back into.
No, I'm coming. I know. And I say about the weakest thing, about the PDP weakest thing.
Yeah.
I had a conversation with Dr. In fact, we had a conversation on a radio program. And I told him, I said, sir, you're on a wrong voyage. I said it. I said, you are going on a journey to know where we should Makinde. And I'll tell you why. And I'll tell you, no.
We want to be careful not to start another round.
No, I'm going to hit it. And I said, why? I said, because some of us in the PDP said there was no need for the crisis with Aya when he was going to leave office that December. There should have been patient enough for the guy just to go with his time and everything, but they started with the BOT thing and I said, you knew Sule Lamido took you guys to court. You knew the thing that made them lose out that case was that judgment by Sule Lamido. You now went begging Sule Lamido the evening after the court had given a pronouncement. So will you withdraw the court pronouncement?
So you still think Wike is PDP?
No, you see, let me tell you something. I'll give you an instance. I, as a person, I'm not a fan of Wike. But the elders in PDP did not manage that crisis well. They played into Wike's hands. When they were going to Ibadan, Saraki told them, Buki boy.
These
I'm coming. No, because when you keep blaming the president for the crisis in opposition, let us point out what they did, their misgivings. Saraki told them, Buki boy, he said, when you get to Ibadan, don't conduct an elective congress. Adopt a caretaker committee. With that move, you are not going to fall under the armor. The armor of the court judgment will not fall on you. That's why they lost at their appeal. I not sit down here and we start misinforming Nigerians that is the president that is causing the crisis in PDP,
but
in ADC. I
wouldn't quite say that's the point that he landed on. He mentioned several issues.
No, the opposition.
Particularly, he had also spoken about INEC.
INEC, you see,
that's
for
part
me,
of the
INEC
issue.
is
Speaking that INEC cannot be completely independent.
Let me tell you what INEC does.
They are appointed by the president. I believe that was the point you were making.
No, I think it was
3 judgments.
No, wait. I think
after all of what he's saying, there have been 3 court judgments.
Let me give you an instance. You know what? You know what INEC does these days. If you have 2 factions in your party or 3 factions, if the 3 of factions puts up date for congresses or what have you, INEC will attend the 3. By the time you guys get to court, anyone that the court validates, because INEC has fulfilled its role, it will adopt the court judgment. It is the politicians that keep taking their matters to court that keep influencing INEC's actions.
Okay. The court will be a fair judge.
The court is not a bazaar ground. It's how you argue your case.
Let's bring in,
if you're already controlling the courts, then you have already compromised everything.
So it still boils down to the same issue of independence, separation of powers, independence and obedience of the rule of law. I believe that
what you take to the court that the court will give you.
You believe that our judiciary is 100% independent.
Okay. Is also independent.
What is that? What's their name?
Barrister Oladide, let me hear from you. Looking forward towards the presidential election, what do we need to do differently beginning today?
Well, I will talk from my party's perspective. We've started already.
Yes.
We have a campaign council already for the presidential election. At the moment now, we are already moving back to our wards and various local governments to canvass for the president. And most importantly, to enlighten Nigerians, particularly we from the youth wing, to engage them, to let them know what the president has been doing, and to also make sure that at least we get more votes, for our candidates, all our candidates from the presidency to the Senate to gubernatorial election next year and so on. So we have started already, and we can only intensify efforts, particularly to keep engaging Nigerians, on some of the important decisions that seems harsh, but to let them see a kind of a greater goal, which we are trying to achieve collectively as a country. And I want to also appeal to the young Nigerians that this is our country, and we need to be involved in the electoral processes and all other processes that has to do with getting involved in the election, and not to discourage. Particularly, I want to commend the president for the action he took in Osun. It shows, it speaks volume, for we young Nigerians to see that there's still hope, when we do the right thing, right? So, and I want them to know that the vote will count, even in 2027, and that's just my own.
And that's very valid, of course, Mr. Essan. Let's bring you into of course, right after we'll have Mr. Suleiman give us his thoughts as well.
Thank you. Earlier I spoke about the illusion of leadership. The thing is that I would like to encourage Nigerians to understand that, to get themselves involved and to understand that governance and leadership have to be participatory. It doesn't have to be about certain individual, about the few. And another thing is that Nigeria cannot afford to miss this election cycle, because if you really understand global politics, you know that there's no future for Nigeria. Because of the fact that Nigeria just one major escalation from famine. Because if any one major escalation happens now, because of the fact that most of the food we eat in Nigeria are imported foods, the supply chain will likely, be broken, and there's a lot of issues that will likely happen. And the thing is, we all have to come together as a society, we have to forget about political party and look at people who actually want to serve us. And another mistake people make is that, they expect someone who has leadership capacity to have grown gray hair or to have a big, fat bank account before you can be able to, do the right thing or have the leadership capacity. And another thing I noticed that, I belong to African Action Congress, the Omoyele Rice Party.
Yeah.
And another thing is that when some people think, based on the age, you are around 40, another you have to start from maybe councillor, local government chairman, and even people who have made impact in this country, they were able to make impact, when they were in their 30s or 40s. And like Yoruba people do say some things like, I don't know how to say it in English, they say, which means an analog mind cannot be the digital society. Where we are now, where we are as a society, we're supposed to have gone through, past this state we are in now. And another thing is that just think about the growing population of jobless youth. That is an indication that there's no future, because people are no longer living in this country, people are surviving. And people who are surviving, people who are on survival mode, are desperate people who will be ready to do anything just to survive. That is why the issue of vote buying or vote selling is still persistent, because of the fact that people are thinking about the next meal, not the next level. And that is why we are here. That is why the issue of, because when you give employment to 50,000 youths now, before those people are engaged for a year, there's another 100,000, another 200,000. So that tells you that there's no future. We have to put certain plans in place that can meet our demands.
Just in addition to what you're saying, he spoke about APC, and what do you want to speak about what AAC is building leading up to the elections?
AAC is the only ideological-based political party, because I wouldn't want to encourage the youth to build their reliance on the same leadership or the kind of pattern of leadership or the kind of people who brought Nigeria to where it is today. There was a time we were hearing about Vision 2020, we're in 2026
But
now.
what is AAC doing now?
What AAC is doing now is that we are, we are growing in numbers. We are, we've been going to different, wards, to local governments, to canvass, to talk to our people, to see that AAC party is the only ideological based political party who actually want to serve, not the one that will subjugate them like the one with.
So basically, AAC is currently sensitizing the Nigerian people.
Definitely, and we don't believe in vote buying. That is why every member of our party will contribute money every month. I think it's about 1,000 naira minimum every month, because every one of us has to get involved.
Okay, Mr. Suleiman. I would like you to bring it all together. A lot has been said to say, but the months leading up to the election, what do Nigerians need to do? Of course, speaking from the perspective of the media, what would your thoughts be on that?
Yeah, I think Nigerians need to know now that elections are not one of social media. If you actually want to vote your candidate, you have to partake in the election. And we have seen that truly the vote counts, unlike the previous notion that used to be, propagated that after all, when we go to the election ground, it's always that the people who want to, be there that still come out leading or being victorious, as the case may be. I think the opposition to still need to maybe find their ground in campaigning, in doing a strategic campaigning to people, their electorate or their supporters, people who they believe would vote for them during the election, because enough of opposition, opposing whatever campaign list the ruling party has come up with. They need to come up with theirs and start the work, start the grassroots work.
So basically, opposition needs to get to working.
Exactly. Compared to them just faulting whatever is coming from the ruling party, whatever is coming from the presidency.
Okay.
This is time to work, and this is time to get your people to rally around you for.
Thank you so much. Gentlemen, this has been an enlightening conversation. I've done more listening, as a matter of fact, and I'm sure that for every single person who has watched the show today, they have listened, they have been educated, and their thoughts have also been challenged. Now, for you watching tonight, we asked a very vital question, whether Nigeria can truly have a free, fair, and credible election. Of course, we did make that poll, and a lot of you believe that it is not possible. Well, I hope that tonight's show has been able to give you a glimpse of hope as to what our future for this country can be. Now, I do want to take a final statement as we wrap up, and I would like everybody to give a final statement as well. We have only 60 seconds to do this, but I know that some people had responses to what people had said. So let this be the final statement as we wrap up the room tonight. The briefing room town hall will wrap up shortly, but beginning from you, Mr. Olajide Esan, what would your final thought be in a sentence tonight?
Yeah, after the election, Osun election, we had some politicians that said agreement is agreement. Agreement not for Nigerians, but among the politicians, which means there's no road or no road that you take that won't end to the same place. So and after that, I saw a picture today. I don't know if it's real. I saw Aregbe Shola of ADC with Tinubu of APC, which means Accord, ADC, APC, different, just like a different, same beer with different labels.
What's your final thoughts?
Yeah, so my final thought is that I would use this opportunity to encourage Nigeria to, first of all, see leadership in themselves. That nobody is bigger than anybody. You can actually contest, you can actually participate, you can actually come forth to add your own value to the society, and we should stop talking about the problem. We need to get to work.
Get to the solution, Bryce Adeshi.
For me, I think we just need to appeal to Nigerians. There's need to support this government because we have a lot going on already. What will happen to Ibadan, Lagos Expressway going on? What will happen to the Calabar Coastalway going on? What will happen to a lot of projects that are currently going on if we don't get to complete it? We can't just keep embarking on uncompleted projects or new government. So we have a lot. What will happen to FINE Fund? What will happen to a lot of social investment schemes? What will happen to a lot of things that this current government is going to do if we don't try to see it to completion? So I want to appeal to Nigerians that there will be more engagement going forward. We are very resolute. We are very confident that by the grace of God, we keep engaging Nigerians to see more, future, in the country. We believe in the country, and we believe in our values as the members of APC, and we deem it fit by God's grace that we are confident of what's happening in the future.
Thank you very much, Bryce Adeshi and Mr. Suleiman.
Yeah, I also want Nigerians to know that government is a continuous process. The fact that a current government is in power does not mean that another government, another party cannot come in the same government to continue whatever project is beneficial to Nigerians. So I want people to also know that the next election will determine how the next 4 years of our lives will be. So I want them to vote for the best person and not the best party. Thank you.
Dr. Hai?
Okay. I'm going to speak to the question of the day. Is
a free, fair, credible election possible?
And I'm going to say, yes, it is. If everyone comes out to vote, don't worry about whether or not your vote is going to count. You do the right thing. There are more people registered who don't come out to vote than those that vote. There are more people out there who are disgruntled with the system than those that are satisfied or those that are benefiting from cash or money that is being shared all around. And so I say to you, come out, vote massively, defend your vote, and let's have Osun 2.0.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Ayodele.
Thank you so very much. Nigerians should understand that talking about their problems will not solve it. We should all look for solutions. In our individual spaces, as individuals, in our family settings, in the community where we find ourselves, there are a lot of things we can do. Those of us in the corporate world where you've been blessed, dedicate 10-20% of your annual after tax, whatever you make, put it into social interventions, create those social safety nets. Since there's absence of government at all levels, right? If you go to a local government, dig bore here, and that person, creates road in here, they annex them together. That's what Council of State or Council of Government is all about. And that way, you can set a model for those of them in government, because we are demanding accountability from these guys. But how many of us are really accountable? How many of us are responsible as citizens? Do we do the right things? You see a queue here, you want to jump the queue. How many persons wait for traffic lights in Nigeria? How many of us don't give kickback? So we demand accountability for those in government, but individuals should also be responsible enough and, be accountable for their lives. And I think that's very important.
Thank you very much. Mr. Dayemisaka. No. I'd like you to go first, and then, of course, Dr. Adita will wrap the conversation.
I just want Nigerians to get prepared for 2027. And I want Nigerians to know that we just have this country. I just have only Nigeria, and I guess most of us are patriotic enough to be that with Nigeria as our home. So after elections, they should believe that there should be room for governance. Please, no matter the outcome, irrespective of the outcome, if every means has been exhausted, let us concentrate with governance, see how we can move the country forward now to bring the country down. That's just my parting shot.
And Dr. Adetokunbo Pierce to wrap the final thought of the day.
We all Nigerians have learned a lot from what happened in Osun, which means that no matter the attempt to weaponize poverty, no matter the attempt of politicians to buy the vote, that if you believe in a candidate that has integrity, that has good values, that has actually shown through their life, wherever they worked before, that they can provide a better quality of life for you as a Nigerian, those are the people you should vote for. You do not vote for people who have impoverished us. Do not vote for a government that has been unable to solve our insecurity problem. Do not vote for a government that has not helped to reduce poverty and hunger in the land. Vote for change that will improve the quality of life. Vote for candidates that have integrity and that have positive message to offer. That is what we should do. But also be encouraged that if you stand your ground, defend your vote, as they did in Osun, our election will become credible in spite of the effort of those people who want to truncate the truth and truncate our mandate.
Thank you very much to each and every one of you gentlemen for being here today. I really appreciate your time, and I'm sure our viewers do as well. This has been the Briefing Room Town Hall. brought to you by Act One. My name is Kachi Ofia. Do subscribe, follow, and share this with somebody who thinks their vote does not count. I'd also like to use this opportunity to announce that if you would like to be a part of the Briefing Room family, do follow us as well on Instagram at The Briefing Room and follow Act One at Act One. Thank you so much for watching and good night. Wow.